to be brutally truthful, I think it's a good deal all round. It's a good deal for Chris Wood and it's a good deal for Newcastle United. I feel that where Newcastle are now, never mind where they're going to go, where they are now, blimey, they're in the top four in semi-final of the League Cup. And where they're going to go, Champions League and regular top four placings, we hope, in the league, then Chris is not good enough for that. That's the bottom line. And I know that this season he's only been backup striker anyway. And that was the reason we were thinking we were going to keep him and that it's a bit of a surprise because you worry about the centre forward position because Callum has injury problems and Isak's just coming back from a long-term injury. But I mean, if we're brutally truthful, he is not part of the long-term plan at Newcastle. He did what he was bought for, which was helping last season's unbeaten run that guaranteed there was no relegation. He isn't, but still at 25 million, it was top dollar. He was not at 25 million and is not a 25 million striker. So I think it's right that Newcastle should cash in. It's a shame they're not getting any money immediately, but they will, as long as he goes, if the criteria is met. But of course, we had exactly the same with Dubravka. The deal was done with Manchester United that if the criteria was met, there was a fee there when he went full time. Then it became obvious that the new manager didn't want Dubravka and he ended up back at Newcastle. So there's no guarantee of a deal at the end of the season, but there's a distinct possibility. And, he could well fit in at Forest. I think it's a very good deal for Newcastle and it's obviously a good deal for Chris Wood.
Definitely. And you mentioned there the price tag to which he arrived at Newcastle with 25 million. And the goals haven't come to match that. But I think he will be remembered as someone who still played a crucial role in helping Newcastle stay up and being part of that first group of the new era. Because the 2 goals he did score last season, John, were very, very important. They were crucial goals. And while he didn't score a bucket load, those 2 goals played an instrumental part in Newcastle beating the drop, in my view.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm not a great fan, and at 25 million, Burnley must have seen us coming. I know it was a release cost figure. I think it's the only debatable transfer there's been in a policy of Newcastle United since the new owners and the new manager, and that's a terrific record. He gave everything that it was possible to give in his favour, Chris Wood. He never sold them short in any way, shape or form on endeavour. The lad was just not good enough. And he didn't set the fee and he didn't set the sky-high wages because the sky-high wages he got went with the fee. If you buy a £25 million centre forward, you pay top dollar in wages. And it's all done at the one time, isn't it? But, he quickly didn't look a Newcastle centre forward. For goodness sake, we have a history of number 9 legends. We've also got a history of some duffers at number 9 as well. But we have a history of legends. And he was never going to fit into the Alan Shearer, Supermac, Jackie Milburn, Les Ferdinand, Andy Cole role at all because he simply didn't score enough goals. And he didn't score the goals at Newcastle that he scored at Burnley. He was never prolific at Burnley, but he got into double figures. He was never, ever looked like getting into double figures at Newcastle. He's honest to goodness. None of it's his fault, but he's way short of what Newcastle United need.
He was, and yes, he should have scored more goals. And you mentioned there Newcastle's history with prolific strikers, but Newcastle have also had a history of bringing in strikers who you knew were never going to hit the highs of those names you've mentioned. The likes, though, of Sobieski. I mean, Darryl Murphy. There's loads of comparisons being made between Chris Wood and Darryl Murphy.
Just 25 million, man.
That is true, but in terms of playing that bit part role, stepping up when needed, doing other things, then scoring goals. And I know you'll say, well, scoring goals is what they're paid to do.
And I'm not certain how many other things that he did, apart from hold the ball up occasionally and supposedly, but devastating in the air. But if you compare that to Wyn Davies, it pales into insignificance. It's what's devastating in the air. I think, and it's very harsh, I am very grateful for the job he did last season in the unbeaten run we had, and I give him a load of credit for that. But I think he's so overrated at Newcastle, it's untrue.